Live.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
All right. Here we go. Here we go. There we go.
I don't know what this thing is. I think it's a strip show, dance show.
Work there, dude.
Welcome to DeaconLive.
DeaconLive.
Welcome back, guys. On today's show, why does my drink taste like Grandpa? And who is going to be sharing your office space? And also, where is everyone dying to go for spring break? And what did this little boy lose when he bent over? All this and much, much more will be discussed here on DeaconLive. How are you? How are things? How are things going? Are you doing okay? Are you getting along with everyone? I always ask that because I care about you, the people. Deacon 2024, right? Something like that. No, but I do care about you guys, and I want to make sure that you guys are doing okay. We haven't had any real controversies here in the last 7 days or so, so that's good. I mean, there's some little minute stuff out there, here and there, sprinkle, but there's nothing really major that's been hitting the news that's standing out that I can see. So hopefully this will maintain for a little bit, and we can have some peace and quiet without, anything terrible happening out there in the world. Now, something that has good happened here on the property. Now, don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video. You can go over to YouTube and you can see all the stuff that goes on here in the studio. You can see the whole entire podcast in its entirety over at YouTube. And the way you find that is to go to Prophet Radio, Prophet Radio, click on social contacts, and you can see all the stuff that links us to you and you to us as well. You can see our Instagram, you can see our TikTok account, you can see our Facebook account, you can see our YouTube page as well, and all the different platforms that you can find the DeaconLive podcast on iHeart, on iTunes, on Spotify, and all those. So make sure you find one of those that suits your needs and click on that and become part of the show. Now, I say it's going well at the house. I forget what actual year it was, but it was when I started dating my wife. When I first started dating my wife, that we actually decided to literally just cut the cord. And so I had to be in like 2012, maybe even earlier than that. And we were just, at the time, I think we had, what did we have for TV? We had Netflix, and then, Hulu wasn't out yet. All the Amazons and all that stuff wasn't out yet. I think we had like just the basic cable and then Netflix. And eventually, Hulu came around and all the other ones came around. So we slowly cut the cord. Now everyone's got everything, and the streaming services are coming back around. You can't have this one without this one. You can't have, get Showtime Max with your Hulu subscription, for another $3. So they're slowly eking their way back into there, and your bill's slowly creeping up. I think we pay for Amazon. Well, we pay for Amazon Prime, so Amazon comes with it. We have Netflix, Hulu, Paramount, and what's the other one? I think that's it. So we have 4. I think that's it. 4. Maybe there's probably one more in there I'm forgetting, but nonetheless, we, a lot of our TVs now are smart TVs, and everything's built inside their freaking computers now. But our TVs that we have currently have like a little Fire Stick, the Amazon Fire Stick, and we got rid of that because we found out that it's outdated and it doesn't, you need to buy a new one every 10 years and so on and so forth. So we bought Roku, and we found out that the Roku remote control actually has a 3mm port for the side where you can put your headphones in, and you can sit there and listen to TV without disturbing your partner in bed. Or if you're out in the main living room in the house, such as my wife does on Sunday morning, and doesn't want to wake my dad up, and she'll go out there and listen to the TV or watch TV out there with the headphones on connected to the remote. So it's a great thing. So now, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I was on the way back in the day. I was on the practice team for the Orlando Magic. And so I grew up playing basketball. And so I've always liked basketball. I've always followed the Magic. do or die. I was always on their side, even when they were the tragic, and the first, season was like 18 wins and 63 losses or whatever that number was. But I've always loved watching professional basketball. I can't stand watching college basketball. It just looks lazy to me. Lazy and I don't know. It just looks like a bunch of teenagers running around throwing the ball. I want the ball. I want the ball. I want the ball. So I like watching pro basketball because I like to see professionals play. I like to see the craft done well on that level. I can't stand watching, I understand. Everyone watched college basketball. That's fine. Oh, my alma mater. Yeah, right. You didn't go there. You just live in the state where that college just happens to reside. But I was going through and I realized that now that the NBA playoffs are starting, and I'm sitting there, I'm like going, with this Roku and all this stuff, can I watch a basketball game? Let me see if I can find a basketball game. So I look on Roku, and Roku's got, regular, all the apps, your Netflix and your Hulu and your Paramount and all that stuff. And then it says live TV. I'm like, oh, okay, live TV. Click on that, and I'm like, all right, there's got to be a basketball game on. There's got to be a basketball game on. Find it. I found it. It's on TNT. And then they got something called NBA.TV or something like that where you can watch other games, but you have to pay for that, I think. I don't know. So I lucked out, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out how do I get TNT on this Roku thing. And it's, sends me a code. I hit the code, comes back. I punch it into the screen. Boom. I'm watching it. I'm like going, am I watching basketball? And I tell you this because I physically have not watched a single basketball game since we left Florida. Because at the time we had, like I said, we had a little bit of cable, and you could watch the Orlando Magic play just about any day of the week during basketball season. They always had the Orlando Magic basketball on the screen or on a channel. So I was like, once we cut the cable, that was it for me watching basketball. So I'm sitting there, and I'm watching the basketball game. And I was watching, what was I watching? The Suns versus the Hawks, Atlanta Hawks, I think. Let me tell you how long it's been since I've watched an actual basketball game. I'm sitting there and I'm watching the games play, and I'm like going, God, I haven't watched it since David Stern has left and this new guy's taken over. And I'm like going, what happened to the days of the coaches wearing like suits on the side court? What happened to the days where if you were injured, you're on the injured list, let's say Shaquille O'Neal. Let's say Shaquille O'Neal was injured that game. He would show up to the game in a suit and sit on the sidelines or something like that. They're just sitting around in like gray jumpsuits. I couldn't tell the coaches, who the coach was, who the main coach was. I couldn't tell the difference between the head coach and the assistant coach or any of the coaches compared to the actual players because they were all wearing some kind of jersey, some kind of jumpsuit, some kind of tracksuit. They were all wearing, they all look like an Olympic team. Now, there's nothing wrong with wearing, that for an Olympic team, but the style, the classiness of basketball I was watching wasn't there anymore. And I kind of was like, oh, man, this kind of looks like college basketball now. And then what really, really opened my eyes up was the center for, I forget who it was. And they said, 11-year veteran, blah, 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 Donnie Smith, gets 14 rebounds. And I go, veteran? I couldn't name one person on any of the teams except for Kevin Durant, only because Kevin Durant, been in the news and whatnot. And Chris Paul, those were the only two, and this is the game after the Atlanta Hawks game. These were the only two people that I recognized and knew. Everyone else has, 9-year veteran and 11-year veteran and 15-year veteran. And I'm like sitting there going, veterans, 15 years? I have no idea who these people are. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. I like watching a good game. I like see what's going on. But I had to sit back and go, God, has it been that long that I have absolutely all the players that I watched, in 2010 have now rotated out and this whole brand new school of athletes have come in and they're doing great and they're, putting up big points and big numbers and big plays and all that. And I just sat there and I was like going, Jesus, I got to get back into this thing. I feel like I'm an outcast. So I was able to watch. I watched 2 games. Half of one because I got into it at the third quarter and then watched the game right after that. And I enjoyed it. I stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning watching the game yesterday. I had my headphones on, sitting there, my wife's sleeping. And I just completely got immersed in not being able to watch basketball and just watching the poetic dance, the ballerina dance that was basketball, professional basketball playoffs. So, and then the commercials, I can tell the difference since David Stern hasn't been there. Like the NBA playoffs brought to you by NerdWallet. And I'm like going, what happened to the big sponsors? We got this little. What is NerdWallet? NerdWallet. If you ever want to have a wallet with a nerd in it, nerdwallet.com or something stupid like that. And the whole thing was brought to you by all these different tech companies and all these different things that I've never heard of. Now, tech companies, yeah, I understand tech companies, but these companies, are the ratings that bad to where they're basically giving away advertisements on these, especially the playoffs? Like, the big guys weren't there anymore. Your Pepsi, your Taco Bell, KFC. You don't see Burger King. You don't see those type commercials during the playoffs. You see something for like I was talking about NerdWallet, and of course a couple car commercials in there and whatnot. And then I don't know. I just it didn't reflect the pro NBA level that I was used to watching, back in the early 2000s. So there you go. I was happy to watch the game. I'm probably going to watch one tonight. Sit there and just completely put my headphones in. Oh, I got to charge the remote. That's the thing. You got to charge that remote or you're not going to be able to listen to anything. I'll do that here after the show. All right, guys. Speaking of show, we got a lot to talk about, lots to get into, so stick around. You listen to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want something for free? Well, we'd love to give you something for free, but you got to do me a favor. Go over to prophetradio.com. That's PROPHET radio. Click on the free swag section and fill out that little form there. There's a bunch of stuff from different podcasts and some free stickers, some Deacon Live stickers, and a whole bunch of other podcasts that are affiliated with Prophet Radio, proud sponsors of Deacon Live. So fill that out there. They'd like to say thank you, and you can hear the latest streaming music from your social networks or your social, I don't know. And you can hear all the latest music that's being streamed now on all your social platforms over there at prophetradio.com. So fill that out, and we'll send you out some magnets. Well, they'll send you out some magnets and some stickers and whatnot. Now, speaking of basketball, is this live? This is live. All right, so we'll go to this here. A North Carolina man is accused of shooting a man. A North Carolina man is accused of shooting a man, his wife, and a 6-year-old daughter over a basketball that the neighbor said rolled into his yard is in custody, according to officials. Gaston County Police Department said 24-year-old Robert Louis Singletary surrendered to Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office in Tampa Bay, Florida, this past Thursday. Officials conducted a broad manhunt for Singletary, who fled Tuesday night after the Tuesday night shooting near Gastonia. Hey, it's right up the road from us. Roughly in a city, roughly about 80,000 people just west of Charlotte. The police said in the statement that Singletary, who appeared in court Friday for a hearing involving extradition to North Carolina. Neighbors said the attack happened after some of the neighborhood children went to retrieve a basketball that had rolled into Singletary's yard. Neighbor Jonathan Robinson said Singletary, who had yelled at the children on several occasions since moving into the neighborhood, went inside his home, came back out with a gun, and began shooting at the parents, frantically shooting as the parents frantically tried to get their kids to safety. As soon as I saw him coming out shooting, I was hollering at everyone to get inside, Robertson said. Kinsley White, 6 years old, and her mother, Ashley, joined NewsNation's Banfield in an exclusive interview this past Tuesday to discuss the injuries that they suffered during the shooting. Let's see, are they still talking about it? So here we go. And don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video as well, and you can see us in real time as we're talking about this stuff on the air. So here we go. I'd like to turn you on, but I can't hear you. There we go.
Dig the bullet fragment out with a pair of hemostats, and they had those hemostats way in her cheek, and I about passed out.
Oh, my God.
It was so gross.
Kinsley, can you hear me okay? I know it's tricky hearing out of a little piece in your ear, but can you hear?
Yes.
How are you doing tonight, sweetheart? You okay?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about what happened when that whole thing ended up going on in the neighbor's yard?
So, some kids was playing basketball and the ball accidentally went in the yard and he got a gun and he started to shoot somebody's dad and then he went back inside and got it.
I can't understand what she's saying. Anyways, so the mom's sitting here, long blonde hair. She looks like a Gastonia girl, if you know what I mean. I mean, she's all methed out. Half her teeth are missing. She's got a black shirt on that says protect the kids, not the effing guns or something like that.
Feeling a little bit better?
Yes.
Yeah. A bit worried about your dad, though, I would imagine, right?
Yes.
So, Ashley, what have you been able to explain? I mean, all of this is so
Ashley's the
hard
mom.
for us adults to process. What have you been able to explain to Kinsley?
She's been real sketchy about the police and everybody. I've had to explain the good guys.
Lady, your whole mouth is gone.
She's really been scared to go to sleep, eat, anything. And I mean,
Do you know anything about that neighbor? Is he familiar to you?
no, ma'am, that was the first time we had ever seen him or anything. He had just moved in 2 weeks ago. He was actually renting a room from the guy who was actually renting the house. Well, his girlfriend was renting a room from the guy that was actually renting.
You don't even know what's going on. All right, so there you go. There they are, live TV right now on NewsNation. God, the mom looks ate up. Jesus, my Christ, what kind of neighborhood? Anyway, so there you go. Little girl looks like she got a bullet in the cheek, and they pulled it out, and she's got stitches all in her cheek and stuff. I didn't see who else got hit, but Jesus, that poor kid and the poor mom. Now, I have been, in my whole entire life, I've been on 2 cruises. One when I graduated high school, and 2, I bought my mom and, let me switch screens here. I bought my mom and dad a birthday present or something like that. I bought them a 4-day cruise on a cruise liner for whatever, birthday or something. I don't know. I bought it. My mom refused it. I can't move. And this is probably, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I can't walk. I can't do this. I can't. I'm like, Mom, they've got accommodations for you to be on a boat and to help you get around. You can eat all the food you want. Oh, I've got this going on this way before she had dialysis and stuff. But so we had to transfer the stuff back in my wife and I's name. And so we went on the cruise. It was cheaper to transfer the names over as to cancel it, because cancel it, I would have lost everything. So I said, all right, well, I'll spend another $300 and transfer the tickets over to my name. It's a scam. Jesus Christ, this is a scam. Well, right now, a major cruise liner is facing a lawsuit that accuses it of grossly mishandling the body of passengers who have died on board, according to Insider. The family of Robert Jones, who died of a heart attack while on the cruise, is seeking $1 million in damages after Celebrity Cruises allegedly stored his body in the drink cooler for about 6 days while it decomposed. Whoa, oh, man. All the while, cruise employees allegedly concealed the fact the cruise ship did not have a functioning morgue on board, despite the fact that it is legally required to. And convinced the 78-year-old woman, the 78-year-old widow, not to take the body off of the ship in San Juan, Puerto Rico, to be processed. The company neglected the company's negligent was revealed when the funeral home employee found the body in a bag in a cooler on the floor in a state too decomposed to be displayed for an open casket. Oh, so he was on the... Oh, Jesus. Can you imagine that? Grandpa! This ice cube's got an eyeball in it or something. Oh, so they kept him in the cooler and he just decomposed. Can you... I know. Everyone out there is going, that is gross. Gross. But yeah, so $1 million, why you should own the ship. You should own the ship. And everyone that's on the ship, you should get your own boat after that. All right, guys, stick around. When we come back, Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want to be heard? We'd love to hear from you, and you can be part of the show at any time. The way you do that is go over to prophetradio.com. That's PROPHET radio. At the bottom of the page is a little blue bar. It says Be Heard. It's got a little microphone icon on it. Click on that. Speak right into your phone, your tablet, your PC, whatever you're listening to us on, whatever device you're on right now. You can be anonymous if you want. And it comes right to our inbox, and we'll play it on this podcast if it gets in quick enough. And if it's not, we will play it on the very next podcast as well. And you can be podcast famous and sit right here in the studio alongside of us virtually as we do the podcast. So you can be heard, you can be podcast famous. Hey, look at me, Mom. I'm on the radio. I'm famous. I told you I'd be somebody. Now, these people right here are having a hard time getting work done around their house. Now, it is springtime, so this is all new to me. I was born and raised in Orlando, Florida, and I've been in North Carolina now for 15 years or something like that now. I feel like I live here. You know, Florida's always my home, but I knew everything about gardening. I knew everything about landscape care and everything down in Florida, that Florida sandy soil, that loam that's down there. I knew everything about it and what to trim and what to do. I mean, when you live your whole life down there, you learn and grow. Up here in North Carolina, I couldn't tell you what to do and why to do it and anything like that. I'm trying. I'm learning. I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm reading books. Not reading books. I'm listening to books. But up here, I guess pine straw is a thing that they put down somewhere. Well, there's a scam going out there that everyone needs to be aware of. The Carteret County Sheriff's Office is investigating a scam where individuals are approaching residents seeking employment to put down pine straw. Officials say property owners agree to let the people put out a certain amount of pine straw on their property. When that is completed, the scammers advises that the project requires more bales than which was expected and could be up to 10 times as much. Then they owe thousands and thousands of dollars of work, which is going to only cost for a couple $100. The officials say the scammers become hostile towards the owners and will try to tell the owners that the work is legitimate. If you have been scammed about pine straw in your neighborhood and you have any information about this, contact the Carteret, Carteret County Crime Stoppers at 252-726-4636 or email crime tips at carteretcountync.gov. So watch out for people out there. And that's sad, man. I mean, you know, with some people that don't know what's expected or what needs to be expected, it's sad. People would take advantage of it. But I mean, Jesus. Everyone's trying to earn a buck and take a buck. Now, sometimes you just need a vacation, preferably not on a cruise that doesn't have an actual working morgue. Now, I've been to Mexico once. I've been to Costa Rica once, and so enjoyed it over there. It was a real nice time. But Cancun, we're just coming out of, what is that, spring break? Everyone's going to prom. See all the prom pictures out there now? But spring break, Cancun, for Americans, is a big place to go. But unfortunately, the Mexican authorities found 8 bodies in a resort in the city of Cancun. The bodies were found in searches over the weekend in which police looked into wooden lots and even sinkhole ponds known as cenotes. Mexico City, Mexican authorities say Tuesday they're still trying to identify 8 bodies found dumped in the resort city of Cancun. Speaking to the families of missing people, Oscar Montes de Oca, the head prosecutor of the Caribbean coast state, pledged to carry out more searches and identifications. The bodies were found in searches over the weekend in which police looked into wooded lots and even sinkholes. More than 112,000 people are listed as missing in Mexico. Jesus Christ, get your shit together. The searches for the clandestine grave sites have become common throughout the country. What is usually now, oh God, hold on. Make sure I'm on the right. There we go. What is unusual is that they are now being carried out in Cancun, the crown jewel of Mexican's tourism industry. The clandestine body dumping grounds are often used by drug dealers to dispose of bodies of their victims. Several cartels are fighting to control the Caribbean coast as its lucrative retail drug trade. Montez said that 5 of the bodies were found on the building site had apparently been abandoned. The bodies have been dumped there between 1 week or 2 months ago. Ooh. 3 have been identified as people reportedly previously missing. Another site of the wooden area on the outskirts of Cancun, authorities found 3 sets of skeletal remains. They got a problem over there, man. People are dying left and right and getting shot. Now, it doesn't say if they're Americans or anything like that. But, you know, the bodies were found in poor neighborhoods about 10 miles from Cancun's beach and hotel zones, but relatively closer to the resort's airport. Similar searches were also carried out in Felipe Carrillo, Puerto, a town south of Tulum. Volunteer searchers included relatives of missing people, and specially trained dogs also participated in the investigation. Feuding drug gangs have caused violence in Cancun and the resort-studded Caribbean coast south of it. Now, when I flew into, my wife and I went to Playa del Carmen, and when we got off the plane, we had like one of those tour buses that grabbed everyone going to that hotel, and we went through checkpoints like military, submachine guns, full, military fatigue checkpoints going to the hotel. And then the hotel would open up its big gates. It's got 2 guards out front, big, long drive down to the hotel to get to the beach. And then that was it. You didn't see a single gun or anything on the premises. And we did not leave that premises. We did one excursion, but we got into a van and we drove about 3 hours away from that area to go like ziplining and canoeing and hiking and all that stuff. But oh man, but we did it in a group. We had a large group of like 30 people, but Jesus, be careful over there. What is the world coming to? Well, I'll tell you what the world's coming to. What happens when a man and a woman has a child and you can't figure out what to name the child? What do? You make one up. And this couple right here made up a name for their child, and it's catching a whole lot of flack. I'll tell you what it is when we come back. Stick around. You listen to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want something for free? Well, we'd love to give you something for free. But what you got to do is go over to prophetradio.com. That's PROPHET radio. Click on the free swag section while you're over there. Make sure you open up that little microphone that's at the bottom of the page. Speak right into it, and you can be say whatever you like. You can be anonymous if you want. Say whatever you like, and it'll come right here to the podcast, and we'll play it on the air. If not this show, the next show as well. And you can ask us anything for about the last 8 years of episodes that we have here on this platform. Or if you'd like us to just say hi, happy birthday or something like that. It's just something simple. Just to say, hey, we're real people and you're real people as well. Now, this boy right here is a real boy, and he can prove it because boy loses his testicle while bending over to pick up a ball in a freak accident. He tried to retrieve a ball only to lose another one. A 6-year-old Utah boy met with a freakest of accidents after one of his testicles retracted inside of him while he was trying to pick up a golf ball. A case study detailing the teen's scrotal mishap was reported recently in the Journal of Urologist Case Reports. According to the wince-worthy accident, the young man had felt an acute pain in his groin while leaning over to retrieve a golf ball from the green. I guess he was out there playing golf. When the teen inspected his nether regions, he was horrified to discover that the left testicle was not in its usual spot. Alarmed, the shocking disappearance, angsty golfer reported to the Salt Lake City Hospital, where he reported feeling an ongoing mild abdominal pain with persistent nausea. Oh, yeah. Tell me about it, brother. Doctors administered painkillers to the patient and attempted to discover what actually happened to his family jewels. Can they use enough puns in here? New York Post. They did a CAT scan and revealed that the ball was fortunately intact, but had traveled way off course. The wayward testicle had ended up in the canal running from his scrotum nearly into his abdomen into a condition known as testicular ascent. After reviewing the patient's medical history, doctors discovered that he had suffered a retractable left testy since he was 11. This affliction occurs when a boy's testicles descends normally during puberty, but does not remain in place, often traveling back and forth between the scrotum and the groin. In the case of the Utah teen, he had a condition known as his patient's, oh God, here come the words. He had a condition known as patent processus vaginalis that he had been suffering from since he was in the womb. A normal fetal cycle, the testes begin to develop inside the abdomen before descending into place, after which the genitalia incubation chamber seals up. According to his occasionally, this pocket doesn't close, forming a highway between this region and the scrotum. When the golfer bent down to pick up his ball, the errant testicle could theoretically boomerang back into place. However, medics were skeptical that this is how he scored his accidentally hole-in-one. Jesus, New York Post, give me a break. Thankfully, the surgeons were able to guide it back into the scrotum using tiny surgical instruments. No, they used the big hunky clunky ones. Hammer. Bam. There you go. All fixed. A process that would hinder by the testy size. All right. So after retrieving his ball from the rough, doctor sealed up his vaginalis, then anchored the testy into place and sutured it to prevent any further descending or ascending again. So, I mean, guys, sometimes, when it gets cold, your balls kind of suck up into the cavity. When you're having sex, your balls kind of suck up closer to your body. I guess his just completely disappeared. Now, I don't want to talk about my own personal things, but there's times where, I kind of 1, 2, 3. No, you just got to move things around. And ladies, that's why what we're doing. We're making sure we don't have ascending testicles. So look the other way. We're just it's a health thing. It's not a convenience thing. It's not a whatever. We're just trying to make sure everything stays in the bag. That's all we're trying to do. Now, this guy was able to keep his balls in his bag long enough to have a kid. Kevin and Kellie both have fairly conventional names. So when they found out they were expecting a baby girl, they thought they tried mixing it up and by giving their daughter something unique and special. But the couple didn't go for the run-of-the-mill baby name website or even look at like celebrities for something different like Cosmo or Daisy or Apple or whatever Elon's kid's name is, $sign something. They decided to take their own name and smush them together. And this is what came out on the other end. We think we were being pretty objective when we say that the result isn't pretty, but Kevin and Kellie love their daughter's name. So let's see. Do you have any idea what it could be? Kevin and Kellie. Yeah, I know. There's a couple of them out there. So what is their baby's name? The lucky girl's name is Kellie. Kevleigh or Kevleigh. Is it Kevleigh or Kevleigh? I don't know. Sometimes porn stars put that lay in there to go, oh, look, her name is a porn star and it's got lay in the bottom of it. No, they say it's actually pronounced Kevleigh. Like Kev from Kevin, yeah, got that, and Lee from Kellie. Spelled Leigh. Why not? Sure. And the news was surprised to no one when Kevin and Kellie posted their pictures of their little girl's first birthday cake on the internet. The internet didn't focus on the cool unicorn shapes. They zeroed right in on Kevleigh's name. Now, I hate to say this. So what? You know, this is too, and I'm going to say they're white because the baby looks pretty much like a white baby. But let's see if they got a thing going on here. There might be some audio. No, they're just going to show the thing. All right, never mind. All right, so this is two white people because the baby, like I said, just turned out white. I said just turned out white. Two white parents produce a white child. This is no different than, you know, African American or black families that name their kids whatever, and then it's a created name, and they take a normal name, like let's say like one that sticks out in my head is Anthony. Anthony Penny Hardaway. His name was Anfrony with a FR. You know, Anfrony Hardaway. That was his name. And you kind of looked at him and you're like, all right, well, your name's Anfrony. All right, got that. And then all these other kids in the community, they have these, I don't want to say tribal names, but they have very, very unique names. And they're all spelled with all different letters and consonants because I can understand that. It's them rejecting or not coming to, quote unquote, the white man's name or the white man's names, I should say. You know, I want my kid to have an African name. I want it to be proud of its heritage. That's fine. You can do all that. But you have to understand, when you name a Kellie or something with a weird pronunciation, you're going to be singled out, whether you're white or black. It doesn't matter. So you have to be kind of conscious, and I hate to say that because we will sit there on let's say a job application, right? A company's trying to be as diverse as possible, and on the job application says, you know, race. What do you identify as? You know, white, African American, Spanish, Asian, what's it, Chinese, Native American, or, you know, other, or would not prefer to answer. All right, you put, I don't want to answer, but your name is Kefron, you know, Kefron Jamoses, whatever, Smith. You're going to look at the guy who's looking at that. Sad to say, he's going to go, well, this is a black guy or a black girl. You know, I think we've met our quota. Let's go ahead and throw that on the 90-day pile and make sure that 90-day pile gets dumped in 90 days. That type deal. And I hate to say that again, but that's what's happening. That is, you know, you start naming your kid Kellie. If I saw Kellie, I'd be like, oh, all right, what do we got here? But so just be careful. Think of the children when you start naming the kids. All right, guys, stick around. When we come back, guess who's moving into your office? And it's getting a lot of people buzzed about what's going on. So stick around. We'll dive into that here when we come back. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on all your social networks, and then way you find all those links that links us to you and you to us as well, is go over to prophetradio.com, PROPHET radio. Top of the page says social contacts. Click on that. You see all the different links, our TikTok, our Instagram, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. For every podcast we do, we have a matching video. So when we talk about stuff here in the studios and there's a picture or video or something that goes along with it, you can see it in tandem as we're discussing it here on the air. And you can also see the full-length podcast over there on the YouTube channel in its original form. Now, my wife has been working from home since 2020, I think. 2019, 2020. Like right in the middle when COVID started doing its whole thing. And so she worked in a facility that housed over, I think, 15,000 employees. Huge building. And now that building only is sitting at about 20% capacity. So you've got all these open offices, all these cubicles, all this wasted quote-unquote space. Now, my wife did go out of town with all the other executives and stuff to discuss what they were going to do as far as working remotely and being a hybrid employee now. So they're in the process of doing that, where they're going to figure out 3 days a week at the office, 2 days a week at home. How they're going to fix that, how they're going to, you know, who works when and what time, and do they pick and choose, or is it going to be like a rotating schedule? But a lot of companies are out there, not just, you know, who my wife works for. There's a lot of people out there that are saying, you look, we're paying rent, we're paying to keep the lights on these brick and mortar buildings. We got to do something with them. Well, some companies aren't ready to bring everyone back into the office. So this company right here has stepped up and said, you know what, we'll do it. We'll fill those spaces. We'll use that empty space that you're not using. As offices remain largely empty across the United States, one bee scientist is hoping commercial building owners will consider an unusual resident, the honeybees. Seeing more butterflies and bees and hummingbirds around makes people want to spend more time there, said Noah Wilson-Rich, CEO, the chief science officers at Best Bees, which cultivates beehives on office and residential buildings. That leads to more employees and tenants' happiness, which leads to more employee productivity and leads to more tenant occupancy. These are hot green properties, they say. After the company agrees to host the colonies, Best Bees uses the fees that they charge the companies to install and care for honeybee colonies to fund the research, as much of which is publicly available. The goal is to help companies offset their carbon footprint while contributing data that scientists can use and understand how to help beehives thrive. It's a way to reimagine how we build cities, Wilson-Rich said. Best Bees founder talked about how the honeybees can help businesses be more sustainable. Estimated 40 to 50% of honeybee colonies die off each year, and researchers say it's likely less studied. The researchers say it is likely less studied bees that are impacted similarly alike. But there are a lot of solutions out there that can impact the climate. Why bees? If you eat food, then you need bees, whether you want to admit it or not. You won't have any fruits or vegetables if bees do not pollinate. They pollinate hay, alfalfa, which supports our entire cattle and dairy industry. Yeah, they made a whole movie about it, and Jerry Seinfeld was in it. If we care about the carbon emission, then we have to acknowledge that the plants in the half of the atmosphere are carbon released by human activity. And so what promotes plants? Well, 80% of the world's flowering plants are promoted through pollinators. Plants breathe. Okay, so they're giving a scientific lesson of why that. So they're saying that, hey, we can put bees in your office. I don't know how do you do that? I don't know. Let's see if I can read on and find out. Companies that are underutilized space, maybe it's a lawn, maybe it's an empty rooftop, maybe it's a deck. Now reimagine these existing assets. What more can they do with it? People really don't understand the sustainability that drives the businesses. So you're adding value to the real estate and something that helps increase the value of the company. When the company pays for the beekeeping service, we breed our own bees and we will work with local sources so that the bees are well established. Then we have to check in once a month to make sure that these colonies are healthy. So they're collecting data. I guess they're just putting them in the roofs. Now, hold on a second. I understand this. Honeybees. Okay, honeybees. And I'm going to assume that is, if you got Farmer Joe down the street there, it's always those concrete, 12-inch by 12-inch or 24-inch by 24-inch hive, an actual beehive that you see that people have on their property. Not here, but, down the road. Are they putting these hives in these open spaces and having hives in the buildings? I mean, what if you get stung by a bee and you go to anaphylactic shock? What if you're allergic to bees? Is this a good idea? I don't know. They're saying that it should be, but if you don't take care of them, you don't put them in the right place or build them a correct hive, they might. It might be more of a nuisance than anything. You got to sell me a little bit harder on that. I don't know. That's got to be a real hard sell for me. Now, out in Napa Valley, for more than 2 years, residents around the Dry Creek Road in West Napa have reported a wild pack of animals that are roaming and winding the country roads and neighborhoods' properties. They kill chickens. They attack dogs, and even some people have been threatened by these animals. They reported They reported noises and a nuisance. This isn't the work of a team of coyotes or anything like that. The predators are fluffy, blonde, golden doodles. Yep. There's a pack of them out there. And Napa County District Office has charged the canine's owner, Melanie Stewart, with 19 criminal complaints. This misdemeanor counts includes dogs at large, a public nuisance, and periods including all the way from September 2022 to March 2023. Stewart lives in it. Stewart lives in the 4,000 block of Dry Creek Road. Animal Control has received several reports of the dogs not being contained and roaming in the area. There has also been reports of the dogs having aggressive behavior. The calls to report the dogs have been happening for the last 2 years. There it goes, moving things around on me. After a dog has been impounded, the owner pays a fee to retrieve their animals. However, the cost of the citation goes up with the number of times that the dog has been impounded. For example, the first impound costs about $65. The second time is $95, and then on and up from there. Stewart referred to the request, Stewart referred her request for an interview to her attorney, Justin Wooten. He could not be immediately reached for this story. However, in the past public posts on nextdoor.com, Stewart defends her dogs, network.com. It's the soap opera of the neighborhood. Stewart defends her dogs and her situation. Her business, which sets up exhibits and trade shows, had closed during the whole COVID-19 pandemic, which left her looking for alternative means of income, she explained. I needed to do something else and decided to follow my heart and breed golden doodles. She posted over on nextdoor.com. If I just worked 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, I could do it. But after 2 years and more challenges than you'd expect it, After 2 years and more challenges than you'd ever expect, the business not panned out, and she expected that I would run out of money soon, Stewart recalls. She's hoping for a loan that comes through or something, she wrote at the time on nextdoor.com. If I can just quit spending all my time either patching fences, adding fences, or chasing after them, Stewart said she had plans to install an agility course and hope to offer training, grooming, lodging, nutrition, agility, friendship, and superb golden doodles, which I guess you would sell. According to her social media post, at one point, Stewart had as many as 24 dogs or puppies, golden doodles. Neighbors have voiced their concerns via social media, including the Nextdoor app. If you don't have Nextdoor.com, I've got it, but we only have like 2,500 people that live around here. So they kind of incumbents like other sides of the county, which has absolutely nothing to do with what we got going on over here in Marshville. Yeehaw, Marshville. Paul Woodard lives across Dry Creek Road from Stewart. About 650 feet separate the two homes, but according to Woodard, Stewart's golden doodles regularly wander on his property just outside his home. That's got to be annoying. 24 dogs running around. Her dogs come over to my house and attack my dogs, Woodard said. I've been bitten my German Shepherd. Oh, they've bitten. I bit them. They've bitten my German Shepherd dog twice in the past 4 months. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, there's packs of as many as 13 doodles running across his house and the road at least a dozen times. So, I mean, I can understand that, but, what are you going to do? Is she going to give them all up for adoption? She's got to do something with them. She can't have them there. I mean, what is the actual... There's got to be some kind of rule, some kind of statute, some kind of code that says, hey, look, you as a person, if you got 3 people living in the house, you're allowed to have 1.5 dogs per person. So do the math on that. If you are by yourself and you've got some kind of business where you're breeding these things, well, I hate to say that, you can't let them run free. You've got to put them in some kind of cage. And of course, then you get that side of the fence yelling at you. We don't want dogs in cages. Look at them. She's just a puppy mill or something like that. She's trying the best she can. Unfortunately, it got out of hand for her. And Now she's got a roaming gang of golden doodles tearing up the neighborhood, you know, doing the whole clicking the fingers and here we come, walking down the street, run away, or I'm going to eat your feet. Hey, hey, we're golden doodles. All right, guys. Getting a little crazy here. All right, I'm gonna let you get back to enjoying what you got to do. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on all your social networks, and go over to profitradio.com. We'd love to hear from you. You can be podcast famous. Go to Profit Radio, PROPHET radio.com. At the bottom page says "Be Heard," and while you're there, get yourself something for free. Pick out what you like, and we'll mail it out to you, courtesy of Profit Radio, proud sponsors of DeaconLive. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you get back to doing what you got to do. My name is Deacon, saying good night and good night.
Wait, come back.
This is the end. The absolute end.
Écoute-moi.
That's close enough.